Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway, because their slogan is Gateway's Got It. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to episode 115 of The Mom Game. I am Emily Jones in, where am I? Huntington Beach, California.
Where am
I? Julie is in studio back at the home front.
Yes.
And we got lots to talk about today. We're going to hold the heavy stuff for later in the show, but I want to get caught up and maybe start on a high note and then work our way down, which I'm not sure if that's the right way to do things, but
okay,
that's the way we're going to do them. Because I'm afraid we'll get, if we start with
You're right.
the heavy stuff, which is obviously the school shooting in Uvalde, I might just lose all control of my emotions and we may never get through this show.
I'm with you.
We're going to start with some fun stuff.
Okay.
Let's start with, you had a girls trip, finally.
Oh my gosh, I did, didn't I?
It looked like so much fun.
It was so much fun. And I was actually just thinking about it today because I got a sweet message from one of my girlfriends that was there. This girls trip, this group of girls is really, really special. And I feel like everybody probably has that group, you know? And as we've gotten older, we went to Scottsdale, by the way. There are 10 of us. And so every year we try to do this trip. The past 3 years it's been Scottsdale. We kind of moved the location around, but it's like the same 10 girls. Sometimes we have 7, sometimes we have 8. This time we had 10. So everybody was there. And it's just people that you know almost better than anybody, right? So we were just talking the whole time about how... And now we're all moms and super emotional. We have 32 kids between all of us. Some of my friends have 4, which is just absolute madness. But we were it was very much just people would get beer tears or whatever about how much we all loved each other and how important we all are to each other and how important it is to keep doing this trip. And I feel probably a lot of people have a group of friends like that. So, if I took anything out of it, it's make time for your friends, make time for yourself, that self-care, that mental health, check in with yourself. What do you need? And what I love about this group, it's it sounds silly. We had a bartender come, we did some partying, but it was mostly just laying around. And then we would get into these conversations about parenting, Emily, and everyone would bring their tips for this situation, that situation, because we all are going through it. And so we just had 3 days to sit around, to lounge. We did some yoga, we went on some hikes, and we talked about how life is going and how we can help each other. And now we're texting each other about the little things that we knew someone might be struggling with, or, little things like that. A few of these moms are teachers. And one of them's a counselor. So it was they're just sending little tips for if you know that you have a 4-year-old who is having a very bad problem with tantrums, what can you do to help? What kind of language do you use to help them? So it on the surface, it probably looked like crazy party time, which, it was we enjoyed ourselves, but it was really a lot more than that. And I just think it's so important for people to find that group of people. And often as you get older, I know this is a monologue, but it's often as you get older, you might not be near them. You know, everybody moves around, people get new jobs, they marry somebody, they have to move somewhere else. So you might not be like physically seeing those people every day, but to just stay in touch with people who really can help you like be a better person, be a better mom, and then just let loose and have a little fun, I feel like is so important. That's what we did in Scottsdale. And it was just really wonderful. And I feel like I know I came back in like a different kind of mental state, and all the husbands were super supportive and happy to help because they know how much like our friendships mean to us and how much we all needed this. I think every mom needs a break, you know?
Yeah. And I think
so it was awesome.
It's everyone. It's not just moms. I mean, my husband works his ass off, and I encourage him to, his thing is fishing. And I'm like, go, you work your tail off. Go, if this helps you clear your mind, reset. That's important. And for the longest time, I can't remember how long I went without taking a trip by myself, like without my husband, without my kids. It was a long time because I had so much guilt for being on the road already, so much for my job, that I was like, look, if I had the opportunity to be home, I need to be home. And I wanted to be home. But then this was a few years ago that I was like, you know what? I need some me time too. I need to take more than just a night in Dallas or whatever. I need some time where I can just not think about things, where I can reset. And you, like you were talking about, you want to do that with people who, yes, you can have fun and get a bartender and have some margaritas or whatever you want, but you're having meaningful conversations. And obviously the subject matter of those conversations changes as you get older, as your life changes. But those are so important. And it doesn't have to be people you've known for 20 years. It doesn't have to be your sorority sisters from college. It doesn't have to be your high school besties. But and I think, and this kind of alludes to what we're going to talk about later in the show, like you need people. Like we need people. We need that interaction. Sometimes I need people. I need my friends. I need, people to check in with, like, am I on the right track here? Or am I missing something? Because I trust you guys to be honest with me, because sometimes we get so honed in on something, personally or whatever, that you kind of lose sight of things. And so I think just having people that you can check in with, that you can share stories and life with, those things are so important. And I think, on a completely different tangent, it is important to have that outside of your spouse. It's very, very important. So good for you. The fact that you got 10 girls together for a weekend is so impressive. I mean, that's impressive.
It's a lot of moving parts, and we plan really far in advance. Like, so everybody puts it on their calendar. You try to get it on the calendar before people start getting busy with this, that, or the other. And it was, if anybody saw our Mom Minute this week, it was about May and how crazy May is. So, people had to miss it was the weekend I probably would have thrown Anna's birthday. Like, everybody has their kids, whether it's a graduation or end of school party or this or that. But it's like, hey, our husbands took care of it. The kids didn't have to miss out on anything. And like you said, they need the break too. And at the same time, I think it's really good for you to have some alone time with your kids, whether you're mom or dad, and mom leaves or dad leaves. I think that's really good too for everybody. So I think Kelly, timing wise, it was good because the season had just ended and he was really kind of wanting to like reconnect with them a little bit. And sometimes we as moms get in the way, whether we mean to or not, with telling them what we think they should do or how they should say this or where to put that, or he's got to be here at this time and he's got this place. It's like, no, he's fine. He can handle it. So I think, it was really good all around, and I'm glad you do it too, Emily. I feel like both of us, know what we need to stay sane in this world, or we're trying our darn hardest at least.
Yeah. And it's funny you should mention that, like telling him what to do. And after all these years, still, poor Mike, like I texted him today and I'm like, don't forget to let Izzy out today. Like there's no one at the house from, 8 to 3. You're going to have to go out and let her out. And surely he knows that, right? But
yeah.
But the second I don't say it, he'll shoot me a text and be like, "Izzy peed in the kitchen or whatever," and I'm, so
it's always a fine line because you're like, do I need to nudge them a little bit, or like are they taking care of it? And it like annoys the hell out of them.
I haven't received the thumbs up text or sure thing, honey, or anything like that. So he's either super annoyed with me being like a helicopter wife. Like, are you doing this? Are you doing that?
I know. But then if you don't text, you're thinking about the poor dog, like just like sitting there, and you're like,
well, and more than anything, I'm worried about him bitching about the dog peeing on the floor. And it's like, well, for fuck's sake, if the dog is out from 8 to 3, she's going to pee on the floor.
what do you expect?
Yes.
Yep.
So anyway, well, I'm super glad for you. You totally deserve it. You totally deserve it.
Thank you.
And I think, like you said, it was good. It's good timing. And even if it's not, you just have to do it. Like,
yeah.
You know, everything else will figure itself out.
And then guess what? You go back to your life and you have like forever, right? You have every day forever to go back to your life. And it's hard to leave kids sometimes. Like a couple of these moms have new babies. So they were like maybes on the trip, you know, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-month-old babies. And then you leave and you're like, guess what? My baby's fine. And I'm a better mom because I took a break.
Right.
So yeah, it was really good. It was good to get it in. And you are back on the road.
Back on the road.
How are you feeling about leaving this time with the family and everything else?
It's so much more manageable. I'm gone Tuesday to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, missing the last week of school, which is a lot. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But you know, I feel like it's after I got that 2-week trip out of the way to begin the season, I feel like everything else now is just so much more manageable. And not so overwhelming. But it has been an overwhelming time because, you know, when the school year is in, it's stressful because you have sports and practices and blah, 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 after school activities. But then when you take school out of the equation, then you're left with summer and lining up camps and all this stuff. And I mean, literally, you and I have talked about, like, you know, trying to schedule stuff. And we were trying to plan an event, you and I was like, well, so basically I'm completely not open. I have no availability from June 28th through July 18th. Like, not one, it's just, and so it gets overwhelming to where, and I'm such a planner that it does make things hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like more than anything, like, and you know this, earlier this week I was grumps because it was my dad's birthday. And then I was getting anxiety about traveling. And so it's like those couple days leading up, and I know this about myself and I don't know why I don't fix it, but I get so much anxiety leading up to. And then once I get on the road and I feel like I've got everything in place, I've got the plan, everyone's been texted about their responsibilities, I feel like I can relax a little bit. But those couple days leading up to a road trip, I always feel like, do I have all my bases covered? You know, all that kind of stuff. And so
yeah.
Anyway, it's
well,
just
that makes
one of
sense.
my personality traits. It's just, and I know it.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to fix it, and it's not that easy.
Well, no, we can't change personality traits very easily. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard, but it's good because I feel like with all of the things you have going on, you have to do that. You know, you have to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row and things lined up because you don't want us to hit the fan. So we're all just trying our best, like we talk about every time.
I know, just whatever it my parenting philosophy, whatever it takes, like whatever it takes to get through the day, whatever it takes. Okay, let's talk a little sports. Thanks to our friends at Baird. We've talked about this over and over again with Baird, and just in general, how we as women, as kind of a stereotype, but it's pretty true, we're not super involved in our retirement, what it will look like, how will we be prepared for it. It's super scary, especially considering that 60% of women don't expect their money to last through their lifetime. And even more than that, are concerned they won't be able to maintain that current lifestyle in retirement. We live longer than men. We generally save less, and often there's greater expenses in retirement. So what can we do, Julie, to ensure that we as women get the retirement we want?
Well, here on the Mom Game, we always have answers to these questions, and we try to help you guys out, and we try to work with people that can help you out. And that's exactly what Baird is doing and can do. If you haven't reached out to them yet, now is a good time. They have a women's retirement guide. It's available at women@baird.com. That's women@BAIRD.com. So you can start planning for your retirement today. based on all of those reasons that Emily just said, and this is something you don't want to really fly by the seat of your pants with. I know I tend to do that in life, but this is something that we don't want to do when it comes to our money and making sure we're set for when we do retire. They do have offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, other cities around Texas. You can just go to their website, see where all you can locate them. And also, it's not just retirement, it's private wealth management, asset management, investment banking, public finance, and so much more. So if you need to get your money in gear and plan for now and the future, head to Baird, women at BAIRD.com and start your planning. Speaking of planning, as we merge into sports squirts, I thought maybe the Mavericks would be done by today. And so I was already starting to plan, of not having many sports to talk about, but the Dallas Mavericks are still carrying on with their Western Conference Finals series with the Golden State Warriors because they did win Game 4 at home last night. Did you get a chance to check any of it out?
I didn't. I was keeping up on Twitter because we were playing on the West Coast, so our game was going on basically at the exact same time. So I was keeping up on Twitter and then saw somebody said something about rain, and I'm like, oh, it must be raining threes at the AAC, but apparently it was actually raining at the AAC.
It was actually. Have you ever heard of a rain delay in an NBA NBA playoff game?
So awesome! No, it's not awesome, but it's
it's just fitting, right? It's fitting.
Yeah. But yeah, they're sticking around, and God, you just think about how close they were, and even in two at Golden State. And then 3, it's oh my gosh,
that's the one you needed to win. Yeah, that's the one you needed to win. And
but listen,
2, they blew the lead.
I think Golden State is the better, more well-rounded team. Yeah. They don't have Luka, but they do have Steph Curry, Draymond Green. They've got superstar players, and the Mavericks have, they have good role players, but I just don't think they're as deep as Golden State. I don't think I just think that overall, top to bottom, Golden State is a better team. That doesn't mean that the Mavericks couldn't beat them or still can't beat them. And I believe when they say, Lucas says, you got to believe. And then I heard someone say today, maybe it was Maxey, if you don't believe, you might as well just stay home. Right. We don't think we can win. What the hell are we doing here? Yeah. So listen, shit happens. Records are meant to be broken, and history is meant to be rewritten. And so who knows? Do I think they have really good odds to take this to 7 or win the whole thing? Probably not. Yeah. But I'm going to watch, you know? Yeah. I'm not, it's not like I'm just writing the whole thing off.
No, and I was pleasantly surprised that they were able to win Game 4. I feel like what's coming out of the Mavs locker room, I really like. And what we're hearing from Jason Kidd, what we're hearing from Luka about Jason Kidd, what we're hearing from the guys, I really like it. But at the same time, I was worried they were going to just kind of throw in the towel yesterday, because I had heard Jason Kidd even say hey, this is a learning lesson. You can't just go straight to the top. We're learning. It was almost like they'd already been swept, some of the quotes that I was hearing him say. I was like, oh, well, you still got a game. But they came out and they won yesterday, and they're going to try to make it tough, obviously, on Golden State. But like you said, I think it's obvious when you watch that Golden State's the better team. I feel a little bit like how I felt when I was watching the Stars and the Flames, and you know that the team you're playing against is better and is probably going to win, but you just think, well, if we just score 1 goal, or if we just make some more threes, and that's the thing. I feel like the Mavs shooting was obviously much better in Game 4, but their shooting's been off. Some guys that have just been sinking their threes, like Reggie Bullock, for example, isn't. And so when some of those guys, like you said, that maybe aren't nearly as good of role players as Golden State has, when they're not making their shots, you really feel it. But Luka's continuing to just dominate, and I like what I'm hearing about him and his connection with Jason Kidd, and this tough love that he's kind of getting from Jason Kidd. So at least if there's anything else, we'll see what happens in Game 5. Maybe the Mavs can keep drawing this thing out a little bit longer. But if anything else, what a good season for the Mavs, and we can talk more about that when it's over.
Yeah, and listen, you can't prepare for the playoffs until you get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's no 7-game series in the regular season. I mean, it's a completely different ball game.
Yep.
And so when you're playing that same team every other night for 7 games or however long you're playing, it's totally different. The adjustments and the between game management, the in game management, all that kind of stuff is completely different when you're talking about a 7-game series. It's that way in every single sport.
Yep.
You can dominate in the regular season, but if you don't have that playoff seasoning, which this team doesn't have yet and is getting now, that is super valuable because now they're going to know what it's like to make a deep run in the playoffs, to get to the Western Conference Finals, to know what it's like to go up against the best of the best in this format. So yeah, I mean, we record on a Wednesday. The show will air on Thursday, be released on Thursday. So when do they play again? Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
So Friday back in Golden State.
Yeah.
And I feel like, didn't they used to do 2-3-2 and now it's 2-2-1-1-1, right?
2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah, I feel that had to be a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Because
Okay.
I just know this. I don't know. The NHL has been doing that for like a decade. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do really like the setup, the 2-2-1-1-1. I love a good 7-game series. I think the NBA and the NHL have kind of figured it out with the 7-game series because it's so fun and there's so many moving parts and it's like a game of chess.
Yeah.
And it's so much talking back and forth for 2 weeks and you really get to dislike whoever it is that you're playing. But yeah, we'll see what the Mavericks do. Speaking of the other 7-game series that we've been following here on the Mom Game, Dallas Stars season is over, Emily.
I know.
And that happened last weekend. And I think that we all knew, like we said, Calgary was the better team. They deserved to win. The Game 7 was insane. I thought maybe they could pull it off. But then over the weekend, while I was on the girls' trip, you texted me actually first because you saw the news on Twitter about the Dallas Stars coaching staff and head coach Rick Bowness. So for those who may not have heard, maybe you're not a huge diehard Stars fan and you're not following Twitter all the time, the Dallas Stars relieved their head coach of his duties. He was stepping away, however you want to say it, and the rest of the assistants, my husband not included, are gone. They're all gone. So I think what people didn't know and what Kelly and I knew was that they were all on expiring contracts. So they would have to decide at the end of the season if they were going to extend them or not. It's not like any of them were necessarily fired. But I really didn't know until I saw on Twitter what would happen with Rick Bowness. I kept asking Kelly, I was like, does he want to stay? Does he want to leave? Because he's up there in age and he's done so much in his career. I thought maybe he'd be ready to retire. But sounds like he doesn't want to retire and he's still going to try and coach somewhere. And that the team maybe nudged him to step away. I don't know. No one really knows. Well, Kelly didn't even really know.
So they're at the point where it's like, we're either hitching our wagon to this guy because like you said, with expiring contracts, it's not like you're going to do 1-year deals with these guys. I mean, yeah. You're pivoting now. You're making a decision. We're going in this direction or we're going in that direction.
Yep.
And they decided that the Bonus and his staff direction was not one they wanted to go down. They had a large enough sample size and maybe felt like, and this is what I would liken it to, where they felt like, and it's not on a knock on Rick Bowness or his coaching staff, and Lord knows I don't follow hockey that closely, but I'm just saying in sports in general, where you feel like either as an athlete or a coach or whatever, that the organization has gotten everything it can get out of that particular person or group of people and vice versa, right? And so there's still the same. I mean, you look at Jose Trevino, okay, catcher, formerly in the Rangers organization, now with the Yankees. And Jose it's not like he was a bad player for us at all. He was a serviceable player. He was consistent, blah, blah. But now he goes to the Yankees. He's crushing it. I mean, not like crushing it, but he's contributing. He's doing well. He's
It's just a
coming
better
up in clutch
fit.
spots and all that kind of stuff. And he's still the same guy. He's
Yeah.
still the same player. It's just that sometimes, and I hate the whole change of scenery thing, but for fuck's sake, it's so true.
It's true.
Like, I mean, it really is. Where sometimes it's like, okay, your message is no longer being received as it was, or it's just it.
Spencer
Listen, at the end
Dinwiddie
of the
for the
day-
Mavericks, right? Like he
Yes,
had worn out
precisely.
his situation in Washington, and they didn't have really anything good to say about him. And he comes here, and you're like,
Right.
"This guy's awesome, thank you."
Right. And that's the thing. And people don't want to acknowledge that kind of stuff because now in our day and age, there's a number on everything. You want to value for exit velocity and launch angle, and we can assign same thing. I mean, it's the way in all sports, like the analytics, the numbers. And so we're so driven on that we forget sometimes about these people running these organizations and playing these games are actually living, breathing human beings
Yep.
with thoughts and emotions. And I'm old lady yelling at clouds. Been doing sports for 20 plus years. It makes me insane because people don't want to acknowledge that. They're like, oh, well, let me look at my analytics. Let me show you my diagram here.
I feel like for some people, it's like a fallback, like right? Like
I mean, it's just like, hey guys, you know what? These guys have like heartbeats and pulses and feelings and thoughts.
And if you're going to work, no matter what your job is, and you're unhappy, like you're not gonna give 100%.
Or if something's just off, like if
Yeah.
this coaching staff's message isn't reaching this group of guys, or they're not responding, or blah blah blah, it may work on another group. Like there's a human element that we cannot ignore. Like I just don't. But it's one thing that drives me nuts. I'm like, it's so important, like that human element. And if you can tap into it, it's so effective. And sometimes it doesn't matter what you do or what you say. You could say the same thing to 10 different guys, and they'll respond 10 different ways. It's an
Oh yeah,
it's an
I mean,
ever evolving thing.
We both see it a lot, and I see it even like with the wives sometimes in the wives lounge, and you can tell, like, I see a lot. I'm not going to name any names, but like if there's a new Stars player and his wife's in there and she's making like comments under her breath about this or that, or how this other team did something better for the family, the players hear that, and that means a lot to them. Like, I don't know why each team doesn't have like a mental health coach, therapist, maybe they do, but be like someone to just cater to the families and make sure that everybody has what they need. And, and some do and some don't. And I think that stuff goes a long way.
We have both of those in the Rangers organization. I think it's huge. I mean, you take that, the family element is so big. I mean, Cliff Lee didn't re-sign with us in 2000, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because his wife didn't like the traffic in Dallas. Like,
I mean,
it was like,
hey, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Happy. And that's the thing, is there's so many different elements that you can't find on a stat sheet, on your analytics report, that go into these guys and their brains. And anyway, I could go on about that forever.
Yeah, for sure.
We're so glad that Kelly is still.
Yeah.
You told us a couple weeks ago that he did sign a 2-year deal, so he would be coming back if he wanted to after the season, regardless, for 2023.
Yep.
That's good news.
It's good news. He's in it's a little bit weird right now because we don't even know like who his boss will be.
So what is he doing? Like, who's he talking to? Like, what?
Nobody. I mean, we think Jim Nill's staying, but I don't know. We don't even know. And so I think he's letting everything settle, Yeah. And just focusing on himself and what he can do, taking a little break. But
yeah,
I have a feeling they'll try and hire a new head coach sooner rather than later. There's already rumors about who it will be, which is just, this will be head coach number 7 for Kelly.
That's crazy.
Which is insane, So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, maybe a change is needed. Rick Bowness got, I think, more out of this group than anybody expected. Yeah. He's a wonderful person. I love him and his wife, and we wish them all the best. Rick and Judy Bowness here on the Mom Game. They're wonderful people.
Okay, Rangers. Way through the season.
Give us an update.
5 games under 500. We're so streaky. We're just not consistent. The margin for error is really small, and so it's just walking a tightrope. I feel like every night. When they get in a groove, they get in one, but I don't feel like it lasts long.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like once it stops, it stops.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still trying to find their way. The offense is so hot and so cold. Pitching was great for a long stretch, still is good enough to win games, but then we're not producing offensively, and just a lot of inconsistencies with this team, which, isn't terribly surprising. A relatively young team, but hopefully, guys that are capable of carrying this lineup will get hot. And that really hasn't happened yet. I mean, with Adolis Garcia, with Corey Seager, with Marcus Semien, even Cole Calhoun for the last week or so has been kind of a catalyst and all that kind of stuff. But you need more production top to bottom, more consistency defensively. And I think those are the things that are frustrating. The opening game in Anaheim, the defense just wasn't good enough. And it changed the whole complexion of the game, and they lose the opener in Anaheim. But it's a long season. But to think that we're already at the quarter pole is pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. So
how's the mood? How's the mood, and what are these?
It's still good. I mean, when we were, when they left for Houston, they were 2 games under 500. And you're thinking, okay, even if you can leave Houston with a split, because it was 4-game series, you're still going into Anaheim 2 games under 500, and then you can start working your way back. But then now it's you lose 3 in Houston, you lose the opener in Anaheim, and now you're back to 5 games below 500. And I know I keep talking about 500, but I feel like it's such a mental thing, and maybe it's just for me. Maybe they don't give 2 shits. But I feel like that's a big thing. If you can get there, if you can hover around it.
Yeah.
And we just haven't been able to climb that wall.
You have to have tangible goals to set, and 500 is an obvious one. Yeah, you can't get above 500 if you don't get to 500.
This is an excellent
right? So just get there and see what happens. Well, who knows? Maybe some.
We're ready to start talking about what's on your feed, which is us,
road trip baseball
on our feeds, and then we'll lead into the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
What's on your feed brought to you by Globe Life.
Yes. Globe Life Insurance. The job market right now is a different landscape than it used to be. I feel like that's an understatement. Everybody wants to be in a better situation, I feel like, at this point, whether you're attempting to balance your work and home life or find a career that aligns with your goals and needs. It is definitely a lot to juggle. If you're looking for a career path that offers a flexible schedule, the ability to make a difference, and the independence to build your own business, take a look at Globe Life. I love this because I feel like so many people are, and they might not know about Globe Life and what all they offer if you're looking to make a change in your life. Anyone watching the Texas Rangers play, if you know Emily, then you know the Rangers and you've seen the name Globe Life. It's a very, very familiar name around these parts now, but people may not know how much opportunity is actually there, how many successful women thrive in their careers with Globe Life. If you've never considered the insurance industry, you should know that a growing number of women are finding true success in it. Globe Life has been around for generations. They pride themselves on their commitment to make tomorrow better. So what does it really look like if you want to work for Globe Life? Well, they have virtual and in-person business models. You can find success wherever you are with them, kind of however you need it to be. If you want to be paid what you're worth, yes. Ladies, if we're going to be working, we need to be getting paid what we're worth. Dang it. Keep a flexible schedule and find meaning in your career while being engaged in what matters most at home. Reach out to Globe Life today. Get your pencils. It is globelifeagents.com. Globelifeagents.com. It could change your trajectory in a way you never thought possible. Globelifeagents.com. Discover what a career at Globe Life can do for you.
So just go check it out. Check it out if you're curious. Just go check it out. Visit the website, globelifeagents.com, just to see what they bring to the table. Okay, it was Anna's birthday.
Yes.
She turned 4.
It's crazy. It's, flown by with her. But we had a little birthday party for her. It was a bit of it was kind of a moving target because I wanted to see what was going to happen with the hockey season, first of all, and if Kelly was going to be playing still, I'd probably just do a June party, wait. And so he could be there and we wouldn't be all distracted. But then when they lost, I was like, okay, well, her birthday's in a week. Can I get something going? And I scheduled a pool party And then, of course, the forecast called for 80% thunderstorms. So I waited till the morning before, and it was very consistent, 80% thunderstorm. So I was like, okay, this is not going to happen. So I pivoted, and we decided to do a little craft party, which ended up being super cute. I want to give a shout out to Camp Crafty, the company that I had to call upon the day before her party, like kind of like, any chance you can help me out? This party is tomorrow. And people, I feel like, plan parties like a month, 2 months in advance these days. So she did not laugh at me and ignore my email. Lily, the owner, was like, you know what? I had something canceled because of the rain too. Let's party. Let's do it. So it was super cute. She came and she set up where the girls could, there's all these different crafts that you can choose from. And I thought jewelry making would be cute. So we did jewelry making with bracelets, necklaces, whatever, for 2 whole hours. They ended up making their mom's bracelets. Ryder made his teacher a bracelet, which I was so excited about, and wrote her a little note for end of the year. But it ended up being really cute. And I was thinking, I'm a little obsessed with her. Like, I was up late last night doing a reel on Instagram, Emily, because I saw
it, and I was on West Coast time, and it was like late here, and I was like, what is Julie doing?
It's like when you get something in your mind. So I had started a reel like a week ago, and then I was saving it, and I was like, I'll finish this on her birthday, and then I lost it, but it was still in my mind, and I wanted to finish it. So I was like, I'm going to do this now. And there's something about, like, it's a weird deal, like the Instagram birthday thing or whatever it is, but it's like something that I think we need, and I needed it as that's how I like just really reflect, I guess.
Yeah, I do that with my dad.
Yeah,
I did that with my dad's birthday every year since he's died. I look at old pictures. Yeah. And it's not really. I think we talked about this before. I'm not really sure why I do it, but for me, it's like something I do. I go back and look at his old photo album. We talk about him. We do a cupcake for Poppy. My sister and her kids do it. Like, I don't know. It's just something that we do. And if it's something that like makes you feel better, and it also too, it's something you can look back on.
Exactly.
I do that every once in a while. If I'm, bored or, laying in bed or can't sleep or just kind of want mindless stuff, I'll just go back and look at my feed and, be like, it's
like kind of like a modern day scrapbook.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's weird. I don't think you're obsessed. I mean, I do think you're obsessed with her, but I think that's a perfectly normal thing.
I totally am. She's just so sweet, man. She's just so cute, and little girls are just the best.
Wait. No, she may stay that way forever.
I think she's my sweet one. We did see the stairs picture that we laughed about. She definitely has her moments, but she just seeing her at her party, like the smile was just from ear to ear, and when everyone's singing to her, and she's just so sweet. And so it's fun to spoil her a little bit. So we had a really good birthday. Ryder's is next in June, so I'm going to try and not plan it the day before. I mean, I literally texted some people the day before. I was like, because then you not only do you plan it, but you send it out to people. And then I started thinking of people I forgot. I'm the worst at all of it, but I feel like it all comes together. And so, Ryder's is coming up next in June, and then mine is this week or a week from Saturday.
Oh, exciting.
I know. So it's our birthday season for sure, just to add to all the craziness, but it is fun. I like having summer birthdays for the kiddos. But yes, a shout out to Camp Crafty, and a shout out to Anna, Juliet, Arlene for turning 4.
Oh, sweet.
It was fun. What's going on in your world with your kiddos?
So we had end of year awards at school.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to miss, but we get like this little flyer that tells you what awards your kids are getting. Like Henry got gold honor roll and a couple of reading awards or whatever. And so you kind of know, and I was disappointed I couldn't be there because I was on a plane, but Mike was going to go. And so I felt good about that.
Yeah.
And then I get this like, a note from a friend, and she's like, I'm so proud of Henry. And I was like, oh, thank you, and talking about what a big deal this award was. I was like, what is it? And it's called the I think it's Ann Brannon Award, and it's throughout Fort Worth ISD, and it's given to 2 children in each grade. Two kids in each grade at each school. So there was 2 kids at Henry's school in the 4th grade that received this award. And I was so proud. Like, well, yeah. But like we talk about, I can't believe I'm crying. We talk about like trophies and rings and sports, and I'm like, that award, I was like, I cried with him on FaceTime yesterday, and I was like, buddy, that award to me is everything. I don't care how many trophies you win or sports, like the fact that you were recognized for your character and your kindness and your leadership, like just makes me so incredibly proud.
It's huge.
And again, like super emotional.
So do they present it to him in front of everybody?
Like, and he did, and the assistant principal texted me, and she was like, he was so nervous. Anyway, I just was so proud, and it just made me proud. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not doing this shit right, and I think all parents feel that way at times. But I'm like, we've got to be doing something, right, as parents. If outside of our home that he's being recognized for that.
Awesome.
And then Hattie calls me after school, and she's like, did you get the email? And I said, no. So the award ceremony is only for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So 1st and 2nd grade, each 6 weeks, actually in every grade, they have what's called Outstanding Owl. So there's one student recognized in each class every 6 weeks. And so then she calls me and is like, did you get the email? And I said, no, what email? And she was like, I got Outstanding Owl.
Aww.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And I thought she might be pranking me because she's known to do that.
Yeah.
And so I got on the Facebook page for this parent group at the school, and it showed her with a picture of her teacher. And, that's for, academics and also character. And her teacher said some really sweet things about her. And so anyway, it just was
Emily, you need to give yourself a pat on the back for that. It's hard to probably say.
And I just feel like,
but you've done something right. That's character awards. That's huge. And they learn that at home. They really do. Yeah. They learn that at home.
I mean, listen,
you lead by example.
They can be total assholes at home.
Yes.
Trust me. And I know they can be assholes at my friend's house and with their, it's not like I think these children are angels by any stretch, but no. That just really made me feel so good.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I just feel like we put so much emphasis on sports and, competitive stuff and all that. And I'm like, and I love that. I'm competitive. I love that my kids are competitive. I feel like sports can teach you so many valuable lessons. But and I texted Mike that, and I was like, those awards like that are going to go so much further than any ring or trophy they receive at a 10U baseball tournament or an 8U softball game.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like those things should be celebrated so much more.
100%.
And I'm guilty of it too. Like I said, I'm competitive. My kids are competitive. I love them playing sports, but that got me. I was like, that's what it's all about. Like, I'm trying to not raise assholes. Like, I just want them to be kind and caring. And, that's it, because those are the things that are going to matter. I mean, the odds of Henry playing professional baseball are pretty slim. Same with football and basketball, and Hattie with softball and basketball, whatever.
Yeah.
But those things that's going to get
That's
us so
what takes
far.
You far in life. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how you make friends. That's how you get jobs. That's how people look at you, how you're perceived. It's huge.
And be good humans.
Yes.
And let's just be good humans. And that leads us to what happened.
Yeah.
In the middle of, while I was posting all that, and I'm on cloud 9, about my kids getting these awards, and I'm so proud. And then you see those kids.
Yeah.
It's
terrible.
They went to school. It's so awful. And you just have these visions as a parent of getting that phone call or seeing it on the news, it's just so unbearable to think about.
It's unbearable. It's shocking. Kelly and I were talking about it this morning, sending our kids off to school. I had a pit in my stomach, a lump in my throat, and I knew today, it's okay. So it's really sad that there's a cycle that I know I'm going to use to have to process these things, because it has happened so damn much, that's number one. The problem is why the hell does this keep happening? But I know the cycle. It's I see the news and I have to look, you were celebrating your kids' achievements. I was throwing a freaking birthday party for my daughter. When this came down, we were setting up for it. And I was I can't look at it. I can't look at it right now. I'm going to deal.
I did it this morning. I still couldn't. They're showing the pictures of these beautiful children. And I'm like, and then you go through like, what do I do? I can't even look at it. I get physically sick. And then I'm like, suck it up, Emily. Like, you've got your
It's okay. I don't think you need to suck it up.
Today.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, you feel so helpless.
Yeah.
You know? And then those teachers and administrators and those people in those schools and those families, like, it's just like, fuck, what do we do?
It's a nightmare. Like, it's a nightmare. It doesn't seem real.
And then, so I think what I've done, and I'm sure this is terrible, but you just block it out. La, 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 la. Same thing with like what's going on in the world. Like I'm just going to live in my bubble and, you know, whatever. But you know what? At some point, my bubble's going to get affected.
Yeah.
At some point, it's just like, it's just so sad.
It's so sad.
Such a helpless feeling. And
it really is.
You don't have any, and I like to fix things. I want to make things right and all that kind of stuff. And I know there are a million people who think the same thing. And it's just like, what do we do?
Because it keeps happening. And I knew that too. Like when I'm talking about the cycle of like how we process it, it's like put the phone down. But then that night, once the party was over and I'm sitting up and reading, and you know, it's all over social media. So I'm like, do I look at it? Do I not? But you have to. And so I just started really thinking about it and processing it last night. And then even more this morning as we sent the kids off to school. And I knew from the beginning, I thought, like these pictures are going to come out and I'm going to see these kids and I'm going to hear about their stories and what they liked to do and who they were and what their favorite activities were. And that started this morning, you know, and the first one, it was like a teacher and she just looks like any of our kids' teachers, like somebody who's given her life. She'd been there for 20 years, just giving her life to kids, and some motherfucker, like, it just doesn't make any sense, decides to take these people's lives in. And then the little girl stories start coming out. I saw a little boy, a little girl, another little boy. And that's when I just can't take it anymore. And so I'm with you, Emily, because we want to help. Like, even over the course we've done this show, 2 years? How many damn things have there been that have happened where it's like, we want to do something, whether it's, you know, about like the racist, you know, stuff a couple of years ago and people that were rioting in the streets, and then you have COVID and people dying, and schools that are closed and parents that are struggling and grandparents that are dying. And now we have these ongoing through it all, like these mass shootings, and it's a lot for anybody to take in. I don't know how we go through like our day-to-day life dealing with all of these things, and I don't know what to do to help, you know? And I think that's what hurts the most, is you don't know what to do to help. So I know that, like, hopefully, I don't know, every time it happens, you see the post and people say they want to help, but I feel like maybe this is the president we need right now that can, you know, try and help make some changes in legislation. I feel like there's going to be a huge movement for, you know, gun reform, you know, and making it harder for people to get guns. It's always going to be available. Assault rifles, I think, have no place in our society. And every single one of these damn shootings has been with an assault rifle. Why do you need that? And then the mental health aspect. You can't
and that's
fix everybody's mental health,
like,
but it's something.
People having connections, and that's with kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, kids need friends. They need companions. There's just so much isolation, you know, and it's like you said, I mean, it's just like, where do you even start? Where do you start? I think the one thing I will say, and we have guns in our home. They're in a safe, whatever. I don't know shit about guns.
Yeah.
I do know that if you're able to shoot multiple people in a short amount of time, that whether you're a hunter or you're protecting your homestead, I just don't feel like that is a necessity for people.
And I think that might be a good place to start.
Weapons that can, and if there is a circumstance, there should got to be more like background checks, or I mean, we got to fucking get a license to drive a car, and we've got to get our inspection sticker every year. Like, we've got to do something. And I don't want to fucking hear about politics bullshit. I am apolitical. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. And if you are tying your horse to a goddamn donkey or an elephant for everything you believe, and that's all you know is I'm a donkey or I'm an elephant, then F off.
Yeah.
Like I got nothing for you.
Open
like,
up your mind.
Sorry. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't get with it. And this is a completely different rant, but like, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Republican, I'm blue, I'm red. And so are you that incapable of thinking on your own that whatever this political party believes, whatever this donkey believes, or whatever this elephant believes, you're going to hitch your horse to that in everything they say? Like, come on, grow a pair.
Think for yourself.
I mean, it's just so gross. It's so gross. Like, oh no, well, I'm a Republican and they say we should be pro Second Amendment and pro guns and blah, 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 NRA, whatever, bullshit, whatever. Oh no, I'm blue. So I say, absolutely, woman's right to choose, no matter how far along she is. I don't know. And I'm not, again, no political takes for me. I'm exhausted.
There's way too much.
But like,
we can't, it's so exhausting.
Like,
it really is.
Exhausting.
But I think that this is the one
like,
thing I'm like, let's protect our kids in school.
Right.
You know,
right? Can we all agree on that?
Can we agree on that?
Donkeys and elephants agree that, like, hey,
something's got to change.
Don't want kids shot in school.
Yeah.
Hey, we found a common ground. But you know what? Then they can't fucking agree to do anything to fix it.
I know.
Just fighting money and politics, and it's just gross.
I know.
And I don't know. Yeah. And I'm just, and like I said, I'm just a mom, and I wish there was more I could do. If someone would tell me, like, do this and it'll fix shit. Do this and get 20 other people to do this and it'll fix it. I'm in. But it's like you said, and I feel like I feel dumb because usually I'm like, if I see a problem, I try to find a solution and then let's fix it.
Yeah.
This thing is so fucking out of control. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start.
It's so out of control.
I got nothing.
I think that there's places that you can donate to groups that are really, really, really pushing for change when it comes to the laws surrounding guns. So that's maybe one thing. But the other thing is, and I think we already talked about it, there's something mentally wrong with these people that are doing this. Yeah. This was an 18-year-old kid, and there's so many emotions when you first hear about something like this, but I couldn't help but think, like, what? Who are his parents? Like, what is wrong with him? How did he get to this point where, like, you think that this is the only answer? He shot at his grandma, and then he went to the school and killed 19 kids. And
you're exactly right, Julie. You're right. It's not just guns. I mean, that's part of the problem, obviously.
There's multiple layers. But I think if we as parents, like, can just really, really, really just do our best, like you said, the things that matter, and monitor your children and their emotional state, because the little things can turn into really big things, and we're all busy, and it's easy to, like, maybe turn a blind eye and just trust and hope and pray that things are going to be okay with your child. But if your child is showing signs of just not being happy or being insecure or being bullied, like, and I feel a little bit like, my son, I worry about him sometimes, saying little things like people don't like me, or, when he does have an issue, it's starting to come back to that. And so it's just something I feel like that's one thing we can do, is just try to be the best parents that we can be. And if you see a kid that maybe needs extra help, help them get the extra help too. Because this, I was looking just this morning because, like I said, I'm trying to figure out who this kid is and what happened. And guess what I saw? I mean, I just saw this before we went on. He was a lonely 18-year-old who was bullied over a childhood speech impediment, suffered from a fraught home life, and lashed out violently against peers and strangers recently. And he had a bad relationship with his mom, bullied over a speech impediment when he was a kid. Yeah, nothing makes it okay what he did. Obviously, something went very wrong, but it's the bullying. It's these kids feeling like they don't know who they are and they're not good enough, and
they don't have a place.
And maybe their parents aren't.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, regardless of who you are, you need a place.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a physical home, if you don't have a good home structure, everyone needs a home, whether it's a physical structure or a traditional one with two parents, a mom and a dad, a mom and a mom, whatever. everyone needs a home. Like I said, not the literal meaning of the word. Everyone needs a home. And obviously that kid, it sounds like he didn't have a home.
He didn't have a home.
Doesn't excuse what he did.
His best friend said he would get bullied by a lot of people. This is in middle school. In 8th grade was getting bullied. He was bullied over social media, over gaming, over everything. He did play video games. He played Fortnite, Call of Duty, all the shit. I mean, the video games aren't doing anything positive for anybody, these shooting video games, but I know a lot of kids do it, and I'm sure mine will get into it. There's just that's why that's so overwhelming. And
I think too, depending on what kind of home, as we've talked about, you're able to process that stuff and in a different way, the video games, right? If you have the conversations, but if you're a kid with no home, and I say that in quotation marks, and you don't have that structure, then you can get lost in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think as sweeping, just like I don't think all guns should be gone forever. I don't think that video games are the root cause of this and all should be banned. Like there's stuff on both sides here. I know people hate to hear that. There's middle ground. I know people hate to hear that, but there really is. So
yep.
Anyway, I'm glad we saved this for the end because I knew
we didn't list.
Both going to lose. I knew I was going to lose it. Well. And there's nothing worse than looking at yourself crying in a monitor, which is what I just had to endure.
I'm like so bright red.
But I think it's important that we continue the conversation.
Yeah.
If as our listeners, if you guys know of anyone, because like I said, I'm not educated. I'm not educated on guns. I welcome conversations. Like, tell me what kind of guns, the differences, because I know that's a thing. If you know someone about, mental health, like that, we'd love to have these conversations. Like, if nothing else, I need to be more educated. I need to get my head out of my fucking bubble, and I need to try to figure out a way that I can help because I want to.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people probably feel that way. Here's the thing. I don't know how to. Mm-hmm. So if you know, holler at your girl.
Yep.
Because I there's nothing worse than wanting that so badly and then not being able to do shit about it.
Yeah. I did love Steve Kerr's speech. Yeah. His unprovoked speech. No one asked him about it, but he sat down before the Mavericks and Warriors game yesterday and couldn't help but just get into it. And he's saying it's the Senators. He's saying, they have the ability to change and the power to change some of these laws.
And it's like when it all boils down if you boil it all down, can we all just agree we don't want innocent people to die anymore?
Yes, whether it's grocery shopping or at church or at school.
Yeah.
Something's got to change. So, we'll put it on our list as part of our mom game projects and things that we want to work on. And if there's anything we can do to help, then I definitely know that we want to. And in the meantime, I think just parent your babies as best you can and stay in tune with them and who they are and their emotions. And I think you should be proud of him because those character awards are really fucking amazing. So I'm proud of you, and hopefully people listening maybe can take that. If nothing else, we can take care of what's in our home.
Your four walls.
Yep. Your four walls. Start there, and then we can start looking at big picture. But this little boy had issues.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I guess that's it. We didn't do much cry laughing, but we did do crying.
I know. I know. We're gonna have shows like that, right?
Yep.
We can't. The last thing I want to do is come on here with a glass of wine at 10 a.m. West Coast time and yuck it up.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Okay. We'll be back next week. Really cool thing we're doing next week. We're going to take a trip down memory lane, and Julie and I are going to show you guys what we were like as young pup reporters. Mm-hmm. We have video evidence. We hope you guys are going to enjoy it. So yeah, next week, be sure to tune in and you'll see some really, really interesting.
It'll be very interesting and some interesting looks. Young all the things. Reporters. Yeah. We'll have some fun with that. And in the meantime,
we'll be back together in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Until then, Throw up the deuces, Julie.
Yes, let's go Rangers. Let's go Mavs. Let's go moms and dads. Taking care of your babies. All right.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Mom game out.
Mom game out.